Hey guys, Karan from MobiScrub here, and Vivo just launched the Vivo S1 today in India. Now, it's a mid-range smartphone, and in this video we're going to focus on how good it is from a gaming standpoint. Now, the S1 comes in 3 variants in total, but in terms of RAM, there are only 2 variants, so 4 gigs and 6 gigs. Obviously, if you're looking for the S1 to be able to play some games, I'm going to recommend that you anyway get the 6 gigs variant because that's just going to be slightly better at performance. And for this video, I'm using the 6 gigs 128 gig onboard storage Vivo S1. Let's go ahead with PUBG, and what I see is that the game has defaulted the graphic quality to medium and not high. But you can always go back inside settings and change your graphic settings to higher quality if you want to, but again, chances are it's going to cause frame drops and the quality would not be as seamless. The gameplay might not be smooth. What's interesting is that the Vivo Z1 Pro, which is pretty much the same price as the Vivo S1, defaulted the game's graphic setting to high. And that's probably because it's running Snapdragon and the Adreno 616 GPU as compared to this one. So if you look at the gameplay, you will experience a bit of frame drop every now and then, as you can see here in the video. I do feel a certain lag, like it's very minimal, but it's there and you can feel it while you're playing. Now definitely it might get better as I go along the game. The game has just loaded itself, there are players joining in, so there's a bit of more latency even in terms of network. But let me talk about MultiTurbo feature a little later in the video that does take care of network latency. Okay, so now we know PUBG is an online multiplayer game, so it does require bandwidth, it requires network, it requires a lot of your processing power as well as RAM. And given that it's a mid-range smartphone, I think the Vivo S1 is doing a pretty good job. Sure, granted that it's running on medium quality, but hey, it's right in front of you. And it's really not that bad actually for the price point. Definitely not the best PUBG experience, but I think it's still pretty good, and you wouldn't really be complaining a lot. Now let's play Shadows, and again, it's one of those, high demanding graphics game. It does require quite a bit of processing power as well as RAM availability. So if you look at the loading speed, it's really not that great. But again, guys, you're not paying a lot for this phone. It is a mid-range smartphone, and I think it's done a fairly decent, satisfactory job. It may not blow your socks off, but again, it's not supposed to. It's positioned as a stylish, good-looking phone. And I'm just trying to display the gaming capabilities of the Vivo S1 regardless of the fact how it's positioned in the market. Because I know a lot of you guys are interested in gaming when you take up an Android smartphone and you're paying, somewhere about 15 to 20,000 rupees, and you want to know whether you'll be able to play games without any hiccups. So Shadows, it's a high-intensity FPS game, and it's doing a pretty good job. I don't really feel a lot of lag, like I did feel a little bit when I was playing PUBG, but it's doing fairly well, I think. So if you observe closely, you will see that the gameplay is quite smooth. Whether it's smoke, whether it's the gradient in the smoke, the textures, the shadows, that firing from the gun, even the reflection on the gun and the way light is falling on it, all of that is just all quite decent. There's also a game assistant built into the phone, which comes into action every time you launch a game. It basically ensures that you have a seamless gaming experience, there are least interruptions, and that the phone is optimized to deliver maximum performance. And you can call that anytime from the side to access some specific actions. Anyway, let's move on to Modern Combat 5, which anyway is a game extremely well optimized for all kinds of smartphones, whether it's a low-end smartphone, a mid-range smartphone, or a flagship level high-end smartphone. So if you consider a game that's really well optimized and you were to play it on the Vivo S1 like the Modern Combat 5, it's phenomenal. I mean, it plays so smoothly, I can really have no complaints whatsoever. There's absolutely no lag, it's pretty smooth, and as I said, I think PUBG was the only game that did have a little bit of hiccups in the beginning, but that also seemed to iron itself out as I kept playing PUBG for longer time. Oh, and by the way, it might be a good time for me to talk about MultiTurbo. It's basically using AI capabilities that improve the performance of the phone automatically by providing, network acceleration for online multiplayer gaming. It allocates more power and resources so that you get a very seamless performance and it manages heat dissipation. So, while I've been playing all these games, I have actually not experienced any sort of heat, which I think is just great. Now, even around the notch, the game is full screen, right? So it actually depends on the game. Some games might be optimized to go all the way up to the notch and some might not be. You can always go into settings and force those games to play full screen if you want. Alright, another multiplayer game. And again guys, the whole point that I was trying to make with MultiTurbo is it allocates network resources in a way so that when the game demands more internet connectivity for a seamless online multiplayer experience, it can do that. And I think that's really cool. They introduced that with the Vivo Z1 Pro and they've got it to the Vivo S1 as well. And that makes sense because both these phones are pretty much in the same price band. So why the hell not? So guys, overall, looking at the gaming performance, the optimization and the tools that are provided for a gaming experience like this, the display, which we haven't touched upon, it's 6.38 inches, Super AMOLED, FHD+, extremely high resolution display, and all of this starting at just 17,990. I think the S1 is a pretty good buy, even if you want to play regular games.